Holly with Stella Mari's Quilts. Welcome to our series on 50 blocks for 50 states, following the designs from this book. Check out the description box below for more information about that, as well as the link to the pattern we've written with step-by-step instructions. Today's block we're going to work on is the block for New York. So grab your cup of tea and let's get started. For the New York block, we're going to need one 3.5 inch square. We're going to need 4 2 by 3.5 rectangles. We're going to need both light and dark 2 inch squares, 4 of our dark and 8 of our light. Then we're going to need some 12.5 by 2.5 inch strips. We'll need 2 of our medium and 1 of our light. And then we're going to need 2.5 by 6.5 inch strips, and that's 1 of our medium and 2 of our light. To get started with the block, we're going to start by making a star. And for the star, we're going to use some flying geese. And so we're going to use our little 2 inch light squares and our 2 by 3.5 inch dark rectangles. I'm going to start by drawing a line from corner to corner on the back of my lights. And I'll do that on all of them. And we will then align this on the side here of our dark rectangle, and we'll sew from corner to corner on that drawn line. I've gone ahead and trimmed away any of the extra fabric with about 1/4 inch seam allowance and pressed those triangles back. Now we're going to repeat the process on the other side. We'll put our square so that our drawn line intersects and crosses over at the center and goes to the outer corner. We'll go ahead and sew on the drawn line. Now that we have our flying geese, we're going to go ahead and just lay out our star. So we'll put our 3.5 inch square in the center, and we'll put our flying geese on the sides. And our flying geese will then form all of our star legs and fill the corners with our dark 2 inch squares. I'm going to go ahead and just sew these squares to the sides of this flying geese, and these squares to the sides of this flying geese. Also these to the center just by folding it over and sewing, and then I'll sew the rows together. A tip to keep your points is that as I'm sewing this, I'm going to actually flip it together like this so that I'm watching where the stitching comes to a point right here, and making sure that I'm on this side of that point, just barely crossing over, but to the side. And that will make sure that when I press it back, these points will be nice and perfect. And here's our star unit. When I was putting these together, I went ahead and I pressed my flying geese that were on one side out towards the dark, and I pressed the flying geese that were added to the center towards the center here, so that as I was putting the rows together, I was able to nest my seams so that I would get these nice perfect points in those corners. Now we're going to assemble some strip units. We're going to do one strip unit out of the 6.5 inch strips that goes light, medium, light. And then we're going to do a second strip unit out of our 12.5 inch strips that goes medium, light, then medium. I'm going to go ahead and take those to the sewing machine, press them, and be right back. Now it's time to put it all together. So we're going to have our long strip set at the bottom, our star in the left corner, and our shorter strip set on the right. We'll sew the short strip set to the star first, right down there, and then we'll sew this strip set onto the whole thing. And here's our finished New York block. Thank you for joining me today working on the block for New York. I hope you found this one fun to do. I know I did. And I hope you continue joining us. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out when the next block is released. Until next time, cheers and happy quilting.